Welcome to the Arsenal show. We are live, and it's a big one today. The captain himself, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, has been stripped of the captaincy. It was made official earlier on. We was doing a pod anyway. And funnily enough, the name of the pod was Aubameyang needs to be stripped of his captaincy. He has to act now. And what happened? On the day, what are the chances? I'm joined by special guest, GTalks Arsenal. How you doing, G?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Really good. I'm glad to be back again. I really enjoyed the last show I came on. So I'm really pleased to be here. But funny enough, I was actually out doing some Christmas shopping when the news broke. And I thought, wow, what perfect, isn't it? Coming on here tonight about Aubameyang.
Obviously, we're going to get your point across in a second. But and obviously, you're happy with the news that Aubameyang, obviously a bit of a shadow shot holding over Arsenal at the point. And I'm joined by my co-host, Steve K. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, how you doing, mate? Good.
All right. I apologise for my sound in a voice. I've been bedridden for the last 2 days, sick as a dog, but I managed to crawl out now just for this pod. That is what a captain does, Pierre. All right. Let's go. All right, G, I'm going to go to you first. You're saying that you're doing a bit of Christmas shopping earlier. It seems like you're happy about the news that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is no longer the Arsenal captain. What was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, for me, don't get me wrong, the news still came as a surprise. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say that is because I personally didn't think Arteta had it in him to actually make the big call. I said this previously on one of my own podcasts. I thought that the decision probably should have been made a while ago. And I wasn't sure if anybody in the club really kind of had, that about them to actually make the call. But for me, it's been on the cards for a while. I think that, you could argue that the captaincy could have been stripped from him based on just his effortless and uninspiring performances on the pitch. But when you actually, throw into the equation that his antics off the pitch, going back to missing the North London derby, images of, him driving with a mobile device in his hands. There have been multiple times when I've kind of looked at it and I've not necessarily tweeted about it, but I've raised an eyebrow in terms of like the way he kind of carries himself, both on the pitch and off the pitch. So I'm fully in support that Arteta has stripped him of his captaincy. I think it was a decision that was going to come at some stage. I think it's the right decision, and I'm fully in support of it.
Oh, Steve, what was your initial thoughts when the news broke this afternoon?
I think it was coming. Taking away all of this, I don't think he was captaincy suited him anyway. I thought there was other players that could be captaincy. When it come about, do you know what? I've thought about what I'm going to say on this coming tonight, and you're probably going to be surprised where there's a lot of things I don't like about this. It's not so much the fact that he's not captain anymore. I definitely think that there's more deserving and more people that would benefit Arsenal Football Club if someone else was the captain. But after like plenty of cups of tea and plenty of hours and plenty of reading, trying and listening and trying to get, a view from both sides, from all areas, so that I could come in on tonight and, give a proper view in my mind. There's a lot I don't like about this, but I think that's just from a personal point of view, as a person, as me as how my morals are that I don't like about it, and how are things I would just have done differently. But going to the fact that it was coming, I didn't expect. I'm hearing a lot of different things from a lot of different people. So because of that, I'm a little bit down the middle. And again, it's not because he's gone. and it's not because I don't think he should have gone, or I just think it could have been. I don't like. Yeah, I'm going to say I do not like the way it's been dealt with. I don't like the way I've been dealt with, but I just think that's from a personal point of view of me, what I'm like as a person.
Elaborate a bit.
But I'm not inside the club. I can't. Do you know what I mean? I'm wary about what I was going to say on here tonight because I'm not privy to things. So I know what he's done. I know what, that he's done things in the past. But after sort of like I wanted to come out this afternoon, and I'm not convinced we've done it. We've done it in the right way. How I would have done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's break it down a bit more. I'm going to go straight to you, Steve, because I feel like there's something you want to say, but you've not said, but you burst in to say it. But,
there isn't really. There isn't.
I feel like there is. Okay. Do you think the decision was harsh?
Well, no one can say it was harsh because no one knows the. I mean, I've read the Athletic thing 4 times.
We can only go on what we know.
And if I'm going by what the Athletic have said, then there's got to be a few. There's got to be. If anybody has read it, you've got to go. Oh, you've got to give it that. You've got to give it that. If you've read it and you know what you're reading, you've got to go. Oh. But there's no excuse for what he's done in the past. I think he's done worse in the past than what this is. I think it's probably a collaboration of things.
Yeah, it'd be a culmination of the lot. So if we go on what you read in the Athletic and what you've heard in the past, do you think the decision's harsh?
I find it hard to answer this because it really is hard. It really is. It really is hard.
It's just an opinion. It's just an opinion. No one's going to come back and bury you with it. It's just an opinion.
I don't think it's harsh in the sense that the fact that he's been taking the captain away. No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that's harsh.
Wait, before you speak, do you think it's been done in a harsh way?
Yes.
What do you think's been done in a harsh way?
It's just from bits and pieces that I've picked up through the day. And it's right. Just that bits and pieces. And personally, as a me, I've been watching, I've seen Sky Sports today. I've seen the news today. I've seen the press conference today. I've seen every single manager in the Premiership being asked their view on what they think of him being, not have the cat. If that was me, if I was Pierre Aubameyang, I would be seriously pissed. Excuse my French, right? I would be seriously pissed. I would think that it could be done in house. But again, that might be me as a person. I don't know why they've came out and absolutely ripped him to pieces. But that is that side of it. There's two different sides. I mean, if it was you, Kieron, or you, G, how would you feel if you're seeing yourself? That's pretty damning. That is.
We're going to go on to it because I've broken it down in about 25 different pieces. So I can understand why it's a struggle. Because, let's do me. My first thought straight away, if you see the title, what the poster is, for me, it says it all. Yeah, he needed to be stripped to the captaincy. However, after having a pause on that, my second thought was, would that be at the detriment of Arsenal for this season? So it was, maybe that's not the best idea. When I heard that they'd done it, I was like, do you know what? He was right. And he's got a lot of balls to do that because all that would have been going around in his head. All the, will this detriment be detrimental to Arsenal? I need Emerick Pierre in the squad doing well to score goals to make sure he can get back into Europe. So will that affect things? So many things would have gone around in his head before he's had to make that decision. And then you get to the way it was done. Do I think the way it was done was harsh? I don't. I think as fans, and this is just my opinion, as fans, I think we asked for transparency. I think we asked for things to be clear. And sometimes I think when we do get that, I don't think we're ready for it. But I think it's right. It's not the first time he's done it. I've seen him do it before, but I think when you're the captain of any club, you have a different set of morals to everyone else. You have a different set of rules. You have a different set of expectations, and you have to, as I said before, you have to make sacrifices. And I don't think he's made many. If I'm honest, I don't think he's made any. If I'm honest, so could this be done in a different way? Personally, maybe it could have done. Do I think it's been done in a way that's wrong? Personally, I don't think it has been. But that's my opinion.
How would you feel though if it was you? If you're Aubameyang now and you're seeing yourself, what would you think?
In what way?
If you was well, just face it, you cross every minute. You've lost your captaincy. You've made a cock up and you've lost your captaincy, and you're just literally like front page news on every single news. I just feel that's a bit strong. You know, he's got family. He's got, you know,
yeah. But the reaction,
it's rough.
Yeah, but I get that. But the reaction
It's
of the
rough.
fans,
I wouldn't like it.
No, I hear that. But the reaction of the fans and the reaction of idiots. Like, let's not get this wrong. Idiots that will go out and try and abuse you. As G talks, I'll get onto you in a second because this is one thing you pointed out. The reaction of those people there, yeah. Are they going to change their reaction of anyway? I just like those people are mindless, brainless fools that will go out and think, "Oh, I'm going to abuse him. Oh, you're this, you're that," and like, I don't think they should be the bar. Like, we're the bar. Our reaction's the bar. Where we had this discussion here, and we're not going and trying to find his DMs or find out where he lives so we can post stuff. Like that shouldn't be. I don't think that should be the how we should go by our lives or go by doing things. GT, you said before we came on that it's quite similar to Steve about the reaction of fans, which you didn't like. Go elaborate on that a bit more.
Yeah, so for me, just kind of coming back to what Steve said, like I do very much understand where Steve's coming from, because, you know, I'm very careful and very, you know, mindful of what I tweet and how I react to certain things, just because I'm very much aware that, you know, yes, these guys are footballers, they play for Arsenal, but they are human beings. And I can't imagine the last however many 6 hours or so, from what I've heard, he found out on Monday, I can't imagine the last 24 hours has been very pleasant for him. Mm-hmm. The only issue I have with it is that for me, I kind of, a part of me, I've thought about it a lot today, and I thought to myself, you know what, was this something that Aubameyang actually wanted without actually coming out and saying, you know what, I don't want the captaincy? Because for me, it's like his actions off the pitch and his actions on the pitch, they don't necessarily warrant a man who, you know, is one in obviously in form or one really kind of respects the captain's armband. So I don't know what his intentions are. I don't know what's going on in his head, but I just think that I just question, you know, maybe it was a case of him not actually coming out and saying, you know what, I don't want the responsibility of being a captain, or, you know what, my future, you know, at this point now lies elsewhere. And you know what, I'm just gonna kind of act up. It could be that. I could be completely wrong. The other side of it is, I get what Steve's saying about it being harsh, but really and truly, Arteta could have actually handled the situation with Aubameyang, you know, on point, in that he sat him down face to face. He had a reasonable conversation with him, and he said,
Wenger did, didn't he? Wenger did. Wenger always done something. Yeah. Everything in house. Everything in house. Ferguson the same.
I think I think we don't actually know what the conversation was between him and Arteta, but the problem is that obviously an announcement was made, and I think the club clearly wanted to make a statement to the players at the club, the fans, and I think the world of football, to basically say, we're not going to be taking in nonsense. Now, that has obviously spiraled into just, you know, a snowball effect of media attention. But I'm not too sure Arsenal can do much about that as a football club. That's almost like the nature of the beast, which is the Premier League football. It's like whatever happens, you know, Aubameyang picks his nose, it makes a headline. So obviously something of this nature, whether or not the club had made a statement or not, the news would have eventually found its way to the media outlets, and they would have run with the story regardless. But in terms of fans' reaction, you know, the whole thing with Aubameyang, you know, even previous issues with the whole Ozil issue, I never really got into the whole Ozil situation. And there was a reason because of that, because I was somewhat emotionally involved in that situation, in that I had really strong feelings about Ozil. So I just kind of kept them to myself. I just kept it to myself, and I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to put my opinions out there. I'm just going to keep it pleasant, keep it moving, and just wait until the situation, you know, resolves itself. But I don't really understand why fans out there, you know, take it upon themselves to obviously, you know, hail abuse at him, DM him, do all of that stuff, because regardless of what he's done, it doesn't warrant. You know, there's nothing that Aubameyang could have done in an Arsenal shirt, on or off the pitch, that can warrant, you know, social media abuse. So I'm completely against that, 100%.
But when I said what I said just there, it was nothing to do with the fans. It wasn't a fan thing. I never mentioned the fans.
Yeah.
This was about a human being. This is where I'm going. This is what I was going at. I'm on about if you as a person. I don't think Aubameyang couldn't care less about what the fans think. I don't think any footballer cares less what the fans think. I think they're used to it. I think they're, you know, they've got to put up a shield. I think they're like, from when they first start their football, you know, they put a shield up, and you know, and they have to take it. And I'm pretty sure he couldn't care less what any fans thinks. My problem with it was from a human being point of view, and outside it. And if it was me, I put myself in his shoes.
Yeah.
I put myself in Aubameyang's shoes, and then I thought, if that was me and I'm sitting here now and I'm seeing all this, I'm thinking, why are you doing this? Why haven't you just pulled me in? Why couldn't you tell me, you know, that I'm not the captain no more? You know, and I could have accepted that, because it's like you just asked a question. There's no way back for him now. I know for a fact he's not coming back. You won't see him again.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that Arsenal.
It's a human being. That's it. Humans, not fans.
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, if Arteta, because by all accounts, Arteta pulled it, because during the press conference, which I watched earlier today, Arteta said that he actually had the conversation with him face to face on Monday, and Aubameyang's known this since then. So that conversation obviously been had in house. Now, if Arsenal didn't release that statement, you know, the media, the world of football would have eventually found out that he would have been stripped to the captaincy, whether it was a statement or not. So I get what you're saying from a human being's point of view. That the last 24 hours has been horrid for him as a human being. However, I'm not sure, statement or not, Arsenal could have prevented the reaction that's happened.
Yeah, I think, look, on the how do I feel? So let's go back to your question. How would I take it? Okay, forget the fan bit. Let's go. How would I take it? Part of me would have expected something to happen. Would have fully expected me to lose this captaincy. Okay, let's go. The issue with the other day, the COVID issue, going to France, coming back late. Then we had the North London derby. Any captain that misses the North London derby because he's late, you're lucky you got the captaincy now. Prior to that, he had I think there was two other occasions where he had issues. I'll try and find them before we finish the show. So there would have been an expectation that if I'm getting called into the office, I'm going to be losing this anyway. If we talk about the statement by the club, as G said, as Arsenal Football Club, something's going to have to come out. Could they have done it just by taking it off him and then giving it to someone else? I don't think they could have done. I don't think they could have done that, because you're just going to. The media will try and make up something that will, whatever it is. I'm just trying to think of other ways that it could have been done. I'm trying to think of other ways it could have been done. Let's go back to the initial part where it could have started off this whole, what some would say is a circus. When Mikel Arteta was asked the other day why Aubameyang wasn't starting, do you think that should have been kept in private, Steve?
Yeah, like Arsene Wenger used to do. Whether I think maybe I'm old school. Maybe I'm getting on a bit. Maybe I'm used to the Arsene Wenger days. Maybe I'm used to the Jules Graham days too much. Yeah, because they did everything in house, no matter what it was, no matter whatever it was, they kept it in and they dealt with it. And the last thing that, and the reason why they did that is because they didn't want this circus. Of when they put things out about the club to have this in the press, and people were saying, I see on Twitter, and they're saying, just forget about it and go on to the West Ham game. Well, I'm afraid that's not going to happen. Maybe if it was done a little bit differently, maybe we could forget about it. But as I said, we go back. It's nothing to do with the fact of the captaincy. The captaincy's, I don't think he should have been captain anyway. And to take it away from him, you could have said everything. You could have said, well, he's lost his form. He's not the player he was. He ain't scoring goals, so we're going to take the captaincy away from him, and we're going to give it to someone else. And we're going to see if that helps. And then he could have got his slap wrist behind closed doors, or whatever, had a fine or whatever. I don't see what, because every other fan's got jumped on the back of it. Everybody else, other kids now thinks we're a banter club. Everyone else is taking a mickey, laughing, joking. I just think that it could have been done different there. How? I don't know. But they've created a circus, and this is going to be here now to the end of the season, and probably next season, probably forever. And now all you got now is everybody slagging off each other off online about who's going to be next captains, and and it's like, why didn't you just keep it in house and just take it away and just say that and just leave it, and then just slap him on the wrist and take the captain away, because that would have been better for Arsenal Football Club going into tomorrow's game against West Ham. This ain't. That's what I think. But again, Kieron, I do agree with you with the fact that I haven't got no problem with the fact that he should have been taken away. It's the way it should have been. It's the way it should have been done. The way Wenger used to deal with things, the way Ferguson used to deal with things, and
I just don't know how you jump from the if you was to keep that initial one in house, because that surprised me that Mikel Arteta coming out of it on that day. Again, if that's his style, that's his style. I just don't know how you jump from that to be able to strip him of the captain's armband and not have some sort of. Well,
he put himself in a hole, didn't he? He put himself in a hole by saying that right from there off. He had to carry on. It's like,
I think it was deliberate, though. I think it was deliberate.
Yeah, of course it was.
He must have made up his mind then. His mind was made up.
They're trying to get him out. That's what they're trying to do.
It was deliberate.
They're trying to get him out of the club.
What do you not think that? Okay, so say for example on the Monday when Arteta was questioned about Aubameyang's absence, my thing is that if he had somewhat made up an excuse or just said no comment or whatever, and then we'd obviously gone from that where the decision was probably already been made that he'd been stripped to the captaincy. For me, I just feel like the circus would have happened regardless of how they handled it, because it's like the media, anything to do with Arsenal, particularly something, somewhat negative, they're going to just run with it, and they're just going to, so I get what you're saying, Steve, but I just feel like this reaction, regardless of how the club had handled it, I just feel like the reaction that we're having now, it was just inevitable. And I think the other side of it is, like, I know you spoke about Wenger and so forth, George Graham, like, I absolutely love Wenger. Like, in terms of growing up, he was the man. At the same time, not so much me, but I know there were quite, large sections of the fans that felt, Arsenal became somewhat of a soft touch, in terms of just like, Arsene Wenger not making, not kind of being hard enough on players and making some big decisions with regards to kind of discipline. So I've not necessarily privy of that information, but in the latter stages of Wenger being at Arsenal, I just remember saying, like the culture, we're just soft. It's like people just take it easy at Arsenal. It's kind of just a bit of a place where people can just come and just get paid loads of money and not really put in performances. So a part of me kind of likes the fact that, we've taken such a stance on it. And my thing to Aubameyang would be, well, like, I understand he must be feeling pretty crappy right now. But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, at what point did you not look in the mirror and think, well, am I not gonna stop what I'm doing? Because this is not one occasion. It's like a collective, of incidents of ill discipline. And I just think to myself, if it was me, I'll be honest, I feel crap right now. At the same time, I think he also, and anybody in his situation, needs to be somewhat reflective and say, well, I've only really got myself to blame for the reason why I'm in this situation. Because if he had been acting professionally on and off the pitch, we wouldn't be in this situation. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Are we looking at Arsenal too much? I mean, and have Arsenal got anything to blame for this? Because according to the Athletic, they've got a lot to blame.
I'd like to know. I'd like to know.
Really,
This was the next one I was going to say. Is there more to the situation than we know?
Yeah.
There must be.
Always is. There
has to be.
Yeah, there always is. I've not read it, but I'm going to read it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Definitely read it, G. It will put questions. That's why I'm like how I am today, because I'm like,
I can tell. Yeah.
You know why I was a little bit with the, because what annoys me about the Athletic one, and it's Gunner Block, because he's done this before, and I like Gunner Block, but he adds things into the article where it's like, I know, but I can't say anything. I'm not going to sort of insinuate anything either, and I don't like that
as well.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
Shouldn't be ad-libbing.
I don't like it. And then he adds. You're allowed. Of course, you're allowed to add opinion to it, but he adds some opinion to it, which I'm like, again, is that something that you're not telling us? You can't add that, and I don't like that. And he's done that before.
Planting seeds.
He done it with the Josh Kroenke interview as well, which was not the Sky one, the one before that, and it was like he was privy to stuff that no one else knew, and he was saying it like everyone should know. That's what got to me a bit. So, but here's one, Steve. Do you think, because I see this going around a lot, do you think there's any chance that he could lose the dressing room with the way he's done it, or what's happened with the captaincy?
No, I don't think so, because there are the reason why that I think that is because if there is cliques in the dressing room, you're talking about an Aubameyang and a Lacazette and then an Eddie clique, and that's about it, and the rest of them are young players, and you've also got Pepe who's part of that clique as well. So you've sort of got like 3-4 players that don't even play, more or less. And the rest of them are just young, players who are coming through. And I think they all will say anything to impress Arteta. And so I don't think it's going to affect. I mean, we'll see tomorrow. But one thing that what's going to happen with Aubameyang now? I mean, is that his lot? Because I would have to be careful knowing Aubameyang's personality, because he's the type of personality that would turn around and saying, "You want to get rid of me, do you?" I ain't going nowhere, pal. I will sit here and collect my money after what you've done to me. Right? I will just sit here and stay, and you can't buy that. You know what I mean? I think he's got that in him. I think he's got that two sides of his character. He's the same. He's the same star sign as me. Not that I believe in him, but his birthday's a day before mine. So he's a Gemini. So he's got like two ways. 1 minute he's really nice. Next minute he can be an evil sod. Right. So he's like that, and I'd be worried. That's why with Aubameyang, you've got to be very careful how you handle things with him. And going by like the press conference, especially with Arteta, you could tell it sounded to me like he lost it in that meeting with Arteta and the board, or whoever was privy in there as well, with Aubameyang, Arteta, and whoever else, because he was asked the question, how did he take it? And Arteta just sort of paused, and then he went, well, he said he had to take it. So I reckon he lost the plot, and I reckon that's why he's lost it, and he's not even in the squad. And because maybe if he would have accepted it, he would have. I mean, the answer to him, when we see him again, was don't know. When he asked, "Are you going to sell him?" He was like, "Not sure."
He wants him. He wants him. Yeah. So off the back of that, G, do you think? Is there any worry? Do you think there's an opportunity to come back? Do you think he could fight back and show that he's the top striker that everyone believes he can be?
It all really depends what's actually happened behind closed doors. Kind of like what Stephen was saying. It's none of us were there. Obviously Arteta is only going to give away so much in a press conference. We don't really know what Aubameyang's reaction, was. We don't know how he's feeling right now. And we just don't know what, his intentions are, or even what Arteta's intentions are with regards to Aubameyang. So it's a really tough one to call. I'm more swaying towards the side of that's it for him. Yeah. Looking at his age, he's turning 33 next season. But when I say that's it for him, I'm very much aware that I think the club, it's a big call they've made, but they've put themselves in a tricky situation. If we who wants a 32 out of form, £350 a week striker? That's one. If on a perm deal, if we loan him out, that's gonna no benefit to us whatsoever, because I can't see a team matching or even paying 50% of his wages. To put him out on loan. And then the other question is, does he even want to play for the club? Once the dust settles. So it's a massive call, and it's taken some real kahunas to make that decision. But right now, I can't honestly see the way the club has taken such a stern stance on it, and the way, by all accounts, what we can tell from Arteta, because he even mentioned in the press conference, he said, let's just say Aubameyang needs some time, So that in itself tells us all we need to know in terms of his reaction and how he's feeling.
Too well.
Exactly. Yeah. So really and truly, I don't know. I can't see him playing for Arsenal again, if I'm completely honest. But
I've been told he wants out.
In terms of a resolution, I have no idea how between club and player they're going to find one.
But Steve, going back on to what G said earlier, how long has that been that he's been this way? Do you think that the captaincy was the straw that broke the camel's back?
This is what I'm saying.
It's been like it since Dortmund. That's him.
How long do you think it's been that he wants out of Arsenal itself?
Oh, right. I think for the last couple of seasons he's been out. Yeah. That he's wanted out. I think it's no. I know we got to take the illnesses and to his mum, who was seriously ill, and obviously he was quite seriously ill himself, and we obviously give him a wide berth for that, because like you said on the last show, Kieron, that would knock you out, everything out of you, with all those things going on. But he's came back this season, and it looks like his mum's had another turn for the worse. So we've got to remember that, So that's why he went out to France anyway. But I think it's about 2 years now. I think he regretted it. Soon after he got his contract, I think I was told that he regretted it. Just a couple of months after. And I think at least the good thing about I want an Aubameyang, but I want him. If someone says, "Well, what do you want with Aubameyang now? What do you want?" Most people are going to say, "Well, I want him out of the club. Right? I want him gone. I want that wages gone." I wouldn't be. I'd say I want my Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang back. I want the player back who was knocking in 30, 35 goals
We
a
shouldn't
season.
care about wages. We shouldn't care about wages.
I'm not interested. I don't give a crap. I really couldn't care. I'm an Arsenal fan.
Goals
I'm an Arsenal
scored,
fan.
assists made from like Avottles. We just wanted assists and goals. We wanted goals. Like, come on, this is all we want. We shouldn't be worried about wages. We don't pay those wages. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, fans don't care. We don't care about what they're earning. We have enough of it, Kieron. Day to day when we have to sort of look into it with other clubs and other players. But when their own, I don't really want to do that. I don't really want to look into their wage. I just want to go there, be entertained, and watch my team win.
So best person to ask here, yeah. If it's the case that all this has happened, Captaincy taken off, he's talking about he might be back. Have Arsenal already got that player in mind, ready to go in January as a replacement?
They've got the only one that they've got close at the moment is Dusan Kulevski. He's the only one that they're close to talking to at the minute. Anybody else is being held back for one reason only, and that's because Arsenal still need to sell players to bring players in. Yeah, which would mean Lacazette and Aubameyang. So at the moment, the plan is that they'll bring Kulevski in January, and that they'll bring someone else of big note in the summer. But I do know that he wants out, and there are, I'll probably find out more tomorrow, but because it was a bit late on, and it's been.
So adding on to that, taking that in mind, was it the best idea to keep this leadership circle with Lacazette being at the front of that?
No. What do you mean? He's like he'll be the captain type of thing, yeah.
Until the end of the season, rather than make a decision now on the captain.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, you'd have made your decision straight away.
Yeah, I would have made it. I would have made the decision if the player, if I can't see the reason, why he can't make the decision straight away. I don't understand the reason unless he's got this plan of. He has got this circle of 3 or 4 players, and that's the way he must have plans to go on with that. Because why not make the decision now? Who's going to be the captain? It can't be Lacazette. How can it be Lacazette?
I think I have my own thought of why he's kept the leadership circle. But GTalks, do you think that it was right to keep the leadership circle as it is, which is what Lacazette, Xhaka, and then Holding? Or do you think he should have picked his captain now?
I think, in the melee of this announcement, I don't think it would have probably been wise for that to be the exact moment for him to announce a new captain. Because I personally would have probably waited till dust settled. Because I think whoever does get the captain's armband, I think that's going to be a moment for them. And I think that would be it would be somewhat just stained or smeared if you kind of announced it, during the whole melee of Aubameyang losing it. But in terms of that leadership circle, personally, I don't really rate that leadership circle. I'm not a fan of the leadership circle. I'm not Xhaka's biggest fan. Lacazette, for me, I can see he has leadership qualities. But for me, he's never lived up to the striker that we thought we were buying from Lyon, and with his future very uncertain. In that, by all accounts, he's going to run his contract down to leave for free. I could understand maybe making him temporary captain till the end of the season, but really and truly, I think the kind of project we have, we need to get whoever's going to be captain in place and just go from now. And Holding again, I can see it, but. Making Holding captain, I'm not sure there's much sense in that because he's never going to start a game, or he's going to start very few. So, in terms of the leadership circle, I don't rate that leadership circle at all. I think a lot of them are there just because of their age. And And secondly, I wouldn't have picked my captain straight away on the announcement of getting rid of Aubameyang. But I would give it some time and I would make the decision pretty quick. But it wouldn't be any of those three, I'll tell you that.
All right. I personally think that he's kept that leadership circle because he's trying to keep one of them people's Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's good friend on side in that with this time being. It's rather fitting. This is how I see it. The one who's at the forefront of that is Lacazette, and Lacazette ain't gonna have no time to sit around and mope with his friend. He might give it the it's bad that you ain't got to keep. But I Politics. Have, and it's Politics. And I think he may have played that game. If you're trying to keep the dressing room, having two of your best friends, especially if one's leaving at the end of the season, both unhappy at one losing the captaincy, maybe it's just smart giving it to the other one to keep his mind occupied.
There's not a lot of things you can do at the moment with the captains.
No,
I think we're talking about. He showed a lot. Whether he's got this decision right or wrong with Aubameyang on different things, or different. There's so many different caveats to this story and what's gone on today that I think some he's got right, some he's got wrong. Some I'm a bit split down the middle. There's so much, but there ain't a lot there. There ain't a lot of people there who you can say, yeah, they're captain. I mean, Lacazette as Arsenal captain. I mean, I just not for me. For me, I'm not going to say who it is, but there's only one Arsenal. There's only one captain there.
That's your long-term captain.
There's only one. There's only one, and I find it hard to see where else it could go.
Who's your captain, Steve?
Granit Xhaka.
Okay.
I think I just can't. I just don't. I think. I mean, why isn't he? He's captain for every single other club he's played in. He's the only one that's got any balls in the Arsenal side. He's loved by the players. He's loved by managers. And Arsenal fans are crying their eyes out because he told them to go away. Grow some.
Though, for me, it's not even that. It's not even that.
Henderson's captain. Players like that. They slagged him off. He's captain. He's Switzerland's captain. He was Arsenal captain before. For me, he's a gladiator. For me, he's 4 months injured. He's back after 2.5. I mean, I find it amazing that he's not at this moment out of the ones that are there. I thought you was going to say, what I thought you was going to say, Kieron? I thought you was going to say they're going to wait a year so that someone else of the young persons might have stayed a year, and then they might then made one of them captain.
I think they're going to do that at the end of the season. It'll be either one of them, or I think it might be Kieron Tierney, but it's based on. I think I saw one thing earlier, that said forget about wearing shorts as a snowmate. Like, just stick a tracksuit on. You might not be injured so much.
Yeah, don't fall over. He can't stay on the pitch for 3 games. I
think that's what he needs to do. He needs to show that he can keep fit for the remainder of the season. And if he can do that, I wouldn't look anywhere else. But that would only be based on the fact that he can show fitness, because I think your captain needs to be in the squad regularly.
Someone, I just think they need someone who they listen to, who's going to listen to, who they're going to listen to, who are the players going to listen to, on the pitch. And I just think Granit Xhaka would make you listen.
Yeah,
as I say, he's got balls. He's got this. He's got that.
Yeah.
Where who else has at the moment?
I hear that. I hear that. However, there's just too much that's happened with Granit Xhaka, and I just think it's just it'd be another situation where we're just going to be arguing amongst the fans again for however long. Like, I just don't think. I think it just needs a fresh start. As a goalkeeper, I myself was always considered a leader, but a lot of the time I was never captain. Why is that? Because I'm a goalkeeper. But it shouldn't matter. There can be leaders on the pitch without wearing the captain's armband.
Yeah, that's what Arteta said today, didn't he? Arteta said that today, didn't he? Arteta said that today. Granit Xhaka's the captain, isn't he? I mean, come on, that interview today told you that Granit Xhaka was the captain.
But it tells you,
but not with the armband on.
No, but it tells you what? It tells you that he can't give it to him. If he's saying there's leaders in the team without being a leader, then why doesn't he just give it to Granit Xhaka now? Because he knows with the politics of the clubs and the fans, there's a split. There's still the majority may now be, do you know what? Just give it to him. But still, there's that. He's talking about a 40%er that's still like, nah, he can't have the armband. And a lot of these people are still rational thinking people. It's just like, with all the things he's done, with what's happened, he can't be given the armband again. And that's what people will say. Like,
I wouldn't care. Well, he should go. I wouldn't give it. I wouldn't care less if I was the manager. You know, he's the captain.
No, but
he is the captain.
But as the manager, you have to think about all the things that surround it in the club.
No,
you have to. Why? Of course you do.
No,
do you not?
I was joking. I was just joking. He's captain for the Swiss national side, right? So I can't. How can he not be captain material? And he's Arsenal captain before Arsenal fans got out their cam and started.
No one said. I didn't say. I never said Granit Xhaka wasn't captain material.
Oh no, you never. I wasn't saying you.
No. For me, you know what it is though. For me, yeah, it's like, and it just is what it is with Granit Xhaka. Like he's, for me, I think I kind of agree with. In terms of our squad, I agree with you, Steve. I think he's one of the candidates with leadership skills because I think, you know, our squad is very young. They're very naive, and he's got the age, he's got the experience, international level, etc. But I have to agree with Kieron in that, you know, too much has happened. It's like he threw the armband down. He told the fans to F off. You know, you had the whole saga of the transfer window where he was even talking about playing for Roma. And, you know, had it not been for maybe £1 million here or there, he'd be a Roma player. And I just.
What about Roy Keane though? What about Roy Keane when he said, "I'm gone"? You know, you're only giving me 50 grand a week. I'm not staying here for 50 grand a week.
But
how long was he there afterwards?
And then he come back, and they all let him back and was, "Oh, Roy, great Roy, we love you, Roy."
For me, Xhaka's no Roy Keane. He's not even in the same league.
It doesn't matter about how well you play. It's a matter of leadership and people listening to you. You know, I'm not going to listen to Kieron Tierney. If I'm a 28, 29-year-old footballer, right, I'm not listening to what Kieron Tierney says.
Why not?
Because I would feel that I've done more than him.
No one in this team, apart from Thomas Partey, who is getting nowhere near that captaincy, has won more than Kieron Tierney.
Yeah,
in the Scottish League.
It doesn't matter. You just said that Granit Xhaka was the captain of the Swiss team.
No, but he's proven himself as a captain for Arsenal, hasn't he? They all like him. They all like, you know, Arteta thinks he's the nuts. Wenger thought he was the nuts. Emery thought he was the nuts. They all think he's that number one, you play, you're in there, in that position, you're there. But for some reason, some fans don't. Now, if they think that they know more than them, then great. That's going to ask no more than that.
No, I don't think it's about.
Maybe they do.
No, some of them think they know more, which they don't.
No.
I think it's more than that. It's more than that. And as I said previously, I think once you get stripped to the armband, it's very hard to give it back to someone. Very, very hard. I mean, to strip a captain of his armband and then give it to the last person who got it stripped of him.
I think that would I think that would take the circus to a whole nother level.
Oh my word!
But it's not because I'm on Twitter every day because of the work I have to do, and I'm telling you, 80% is Xhaka now, and it's totally turned. They've totally turned. It's totally turned. You get the odd people with a no avatar who will come out and say Xhaka's this, right? But the majority of people on Twitter, biggest percentage is now for Xhaka, and now they've turned around and said they're all for him.
If they was to give it to him,
I'm thinking, need to see a couple of polls now, man. Do some polls for captaincy.
We'll put one out. We'll put one out. Where we? GTalks. Who'd you give it to?
Me, I've got to disagree with Steve. I know you're gonna hate me for it, mate, but
no, it's his opinion, mate. It's opinion.
Opinions.
I couldn't give it to Xhaka. If it was anyone right now, I would either make Lacazette or potentially Odegaard, because I know he's captained at international level. Maybe temporary captain till the end of the season. But for me, long term, it would be Gabriel or Tierney.
Gabriel or Tierney. All right. I think you've mentioned Gabriel previously, Stephen. I think I said about his English. So it remains to be seen.
There's not. That's why he's probably saying three different captains, because he's like, and that was a good point what Arteta makes. He made a really good point. I hadn't actually thought about it before when he said you have to have 3 or 4 different captains on the pitch, because football now is just such a multiracial team with so many different languages. Yeah. You have to have different leaders in different parts of areas, and so you have to have, and I thought it was an absolutely fantastic point.
That is a great
point. And that's why he probably wants, but I don't see where Lacazette comes from. I mean, Geezer can't. I mean, will he start every game there?
I think he will now. I think he will now.
We're not. I tell you what, if we don't get,
he's going to sign the thing, man. You wait. He's going to sign the
don't say that. Please don't say that.
If we don't get a striker in January, Lacazette plays in every game, forget Europe. I'm telling you that. Forget it.
Oh God! Do not say Lacazette signs.
Alexander Lacazette. They think he's going to score an hat-trick on Wednesday now because he got 1 goal.
Oh mate!
I hope he does, for the sake of us.
Of course I do. I hope he does. I love people proving me wrong.
Before GTalks has to leave. So big game tomorrow.
Yeah.
West Ham. What's your thoughts on this game tomorrow? It's going to be a tough one. This is a different animal, West Ham. David Moyes is doing absolute wonders with this team. What are you thinking?
Huge game, absolutely huge game. And to be honest, I am concerned about it, just because, I'm probably not completely accurate here, but I just feel like this season as Arsenal, every time we've kind of come up against a team where we thought, you know what, this is the kind of benchmark where we're going to be tested. It's a real test. I feel like we've somewhat failed, particularly against, that United game was so crucial. And then the Everton game, we're looking for a big performance and we didn't get it. And then we beat Southampton. Well, we should be beating Southampton. So for me, it's a huge game. And you just have to look at the table to see that. If we beat them, we move above them in the table. So, in a way, people are, obviously applauding West Ham for having a great season, and rightly so. But at the same time, when you look at the actual points on the table, we're not far off them. So that just shows we're not having, a disastrous season, because we beat them tomorrow night and we're above them in the table all of a sudden. But what I've seen of West Ham is they are up for the big games. Even when they've dropped points. I know recently they drew with Burnley. I think they dropped some points against some maybe lower league table opposition. But, seeing them in some of the wins they've had this season, they've just been phenomenal. And I think West Ham are going to come, and they're going to come prepared, and they're going to come up for it. I don't think there's any question about it. And I think we are really, in for a tough game. In terms of how I feel about Arsenal, I'm not confident. And the reason why I'm not confident is just because it just really depends what Arsenal show up. If we turn up and we put in a performance with guts and effort, and real quality, that we showed at times against Southampton, by all means we can win that game. But West Ham are not going to make it easy for us, and we need to turn up, because if we don't, we're going to lose that game. So it's a huge game, absolutely huge game. And I think with all the stuff that's going on, with Aubameyang and recent results, etc., I think if we lose this game for whatever reason, I think the feeling amongst the fan base is going to be pretty low and pretty toxic. So, but it's going to be tough. West Ham are no pushovers. So I'm expecting a tough game, to be honest.
Do you not think that as you said earlier about the test, do you not think that maybe we're being a bit harsh on ourselves, and the test that we put in front of ourselves, once we get past that, we then dismiss it based on how the other team has played or formed, and not taking into account what we've done in that game, such as like Leicester. Before we got to Leicester, that was a test. Then we beat them, and then all of a sudden Leicester in bad form. Aston Villa, we beat them, and all of a sudden, it's because their manager got sacked. Tottenham was a test, and all of a sudden it was because their manager got sacked. Do you not think these are tests that we've actually passed?
Yeah, I do, but I just think personally the performances this season have been very inconsistent. Just when I look at all the games individually, I think Arsenal's performances in those games have been inconsistent. We were fantastic against Aston Villa for 90 minutes. We were fantastic against Leicester for the vast majority of that. And the first 45 minutes against Spurs was just on another planet. So we put in some really, really good displays. But I think in some of the games, I think we've been quite lucky, quite fortunate to come away with points. And I think the reason why I think as fans we were so gutted, against United and Everton is because obviously we just saw a great opportunity. We saw a United team that wasn't on great form. They recently changed their manager. Defensively, they'd been poor. So I just think, with every game that you win and with every place that you climb up the table, as fans, expectation becomes more and more, and we get a little bit more excited, maybe a little bit more carried away. And we kind of, as a football team, they kind of say in sales, because I've done sales in my many careers, they kind of say you're only as good as your last deal. And it kind of feels like that with football in that, as fans, we are, we can be very fickle. It's almost like the team's only as good as their last performance. We forget the Leicester game, the Villa game, the Spurs game. And, we kind of become consumed with obviously the performance against Everton, which, by no means was not good at all. But like I said, we're if you'd said to me, 14, 15, I can't even remember how many league games it is now, but if you'd said to me at this stage, if we beat West Ham, we'd go fourth at the beginning of the season, I would have taken it. I would have taken it. So, 100%. You got, so with it's not all plain sailing. There's been a lot of bumps and humps in the road, but we're doing something right because a win against West Ham and we're fourth. So, it's not all bad. It's not all doom and gloom.
100%. Steve, what's your thoughts on the West Ham game?
Well, I really hope we win. Really hope we win.
Tough game.
Tough game. In-laws, East End boy, so my WhatsApp will be absolutely on fire if we get beat. So, I get slagged off all the time. People saying, well, how come you ended up like an Arsenal fan? So I'm a bit like black sheep. So, but anyway, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's West Ham. They're doing well. We have tough games against West Ham when we've been second from bottom, third from bottom. I've been over Highbury, Emirates many a times. West Ham always seem to turn up when they play Arsenal. It's going to be very tough. And they're probably in a better place than us at the moment. So it's going to be difficult. And you were saying about like tests. And we've always we've not liked the idea of tests, have we? Because
no, we don't like tests.
They seem to pick and choose their tests, but
I left school to finish tests.
In a way, though, kids, in a way, the whole season's a test.
Yeah,
the whole season's a test. We've got young players here. We got three, geriatrics up front who can't run. Might fall over. You've got like I said. I mean, I'm getting worried about him. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's a bit of stretcher coming on one of these days. He's on the floor so much. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. And G already said it there. What Arsenal's going to turn up, and we seem the trouble with Arsenal is that we have to rely on everybody ticking, everybody playing well. Yeah. The game against Southampton, everything was good, wasn't it? The goalkeeper was good, defence was good, the midfield played well. The forwards up front, they were ticking. Lacazette got a good goal. If them forwards and if one of them areas ain't ticking, everything else seems to break down. But because of certain areas of the pitch the centre there and up front with Lacazette or Aubameyang just don't work. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. They've got a very good defence. West Ham, they're going to fancy it, aren't they? They're going to really fancy it. Yeah. They're going to fancy Lacazette, aren't they? Their defence is going to go, yeah, we'll have you. They'll so it's going to be difficult. And G's mostly said everything else, but it's going to be hard. Can we win the game? Yeah, of course we can win the game. But to win the game, I think we've got the way we are at the minute. I think we've got to play against Spurs to win against West Ham. Because if West Ham won it, I still think we'll have trouble.
G, how do you think? Going off what Steve said, we've got to tick in every box to make sure that we win. How do you think the best way to take West Ham on? Saka? Is it the wings? Where are we going to get the most luck from against West Ham?
I think we've got to defensively be sound, and that's merely because of my man Antonio. he's a different animal on his day. He absolutely petrifies me. Honestly, he does, because he's that physical presence, that can, stays on the shoulder of the defender. He can go out wide. He can come in. He can hold up the ball. He's good in the air. He's a nuisance. He's just a defender's nightmare, like literally. In terms of, so defensively, we have to be tight in terms of, Tomiyasu, the whole back four, Tomiyasu, Tierney, obviously Ben White and Gabriel. I think Antonio might somewhat target potentially Ben White. I think him and Gabriel is going to be one hell of a jewel to watch.
I'd like to see that as well, because Gabriel will be up for that.
That's going to be, Gabriel gets off on it. He really does. You see it. He really gets off on the physical altercation. So that's definitely an area we have to be tight, because not just Antonio, they've got other players that can hurt us. But he's definitely a focal point for them in their attack. My worry is midfield. Obviously, Partey's not having the dominant performances that we would have hoped.
Statement.
Yeah. So my worry is midfield. I feel like we could potentially just kind of get bullied in there. It'll be very interesting to see who he actually starts in midfield. But in terms of winning the game, I can't look right now. I can't look beyond Saka and Odegaard. I've been one of Odegaard's critics, but obviously 3-3. He's in a rich vein of form, and hopefully he can get 4-4. But when I look at the Arsenal team right now, it's like what I struggle to see is match winners. Other than Smith Rowe, Saka, and obviously most recently Odegaard, I struggle to see match winners. Somebody who's going to get you the goals on a consistent basis. So that's what kind of worries me. I think Martinelli could be quite instrumental in tomorrow night's game if he starts. But again, will he start? So if I'm honest, I think personally it's the defense. We've got to keep it tight at the back, and hopefully one of the Hairland boys or Odegaard can get a goal. But in terms of attacking players, I'm struggling to see where or how we're going to really, really hurt them other than the Hairland boys and Odegaard.
Yeah. Steve,
bring the Conga back. Yeah, go on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, so going off of that, what would you do? What would you give us your predicted lineup? Not predicted lineup. Give us a lineup that you would pick. Not predicted. Your pick.
I'd Ramsdale, pretty standard, isn't it? Tomiyasu, White, Gabriel. To be honest with you, I don't mind Tavares or Tierney. To be honest with you, if it was me, Tierney's played and done well last couple of games. So, just stick Tierney in there. But if Tavares played, that wouldn't bother me, which is great for Arsenal. Great for Arsenal fans, that is. In the middle of the park, I play Xhaka, and I take Partey out because I don't think you can have the two. Xhaka ain't that great mobile. He's got other, areas of his game that he can do, and the more I'm seeing Thomas Partey, he's not mobile either. So I think you've got to take one of them out because you can't have. G just mentioned about the midfield there. You've got to have players in there who can get nippy, who can run about along getting there. So I'd bring the Conga in for Partey. I'd play Odegaard, and then again, as much as I've sort of had a go at Lacazette tonight, he's come off a goal. I always believe that if you come off a goal, you should be stuck. Give him another chance, see if you can go on a run. So I'd play Lacazette. I'd play Saka on the right, and again, Martinelli doesn't deserve to come out because he's played well the last 3-4 games, and I'd keep him in as well. So really, it's just Partey for Lokonga. Is the only change I would make. But is Smith Rowe still injured? I don't know.
But even if he seen anything,
yeah,
it looks like
I don't think
even if he was fit, I don't think I wouldn't change anything for now after the win against Southampton.
Play for your shirt, yeah. You play.
I always agree. I've stuck. I always stick by that. If you're playing well and we're winning, and even if you're not winning and you've had good games, and you stay in.
So, who's your key player for that?
Well, if from a defensive, I think we've got to look at. I think it'd be a tight game. I think it could be Gabriel. I think Gabriel's got to have a good one.
Not often you speak about jewels that you're excited about seeing, but as G said earlier, and as you've just pointed out there, Steve, I am excited to see Gabriel versus Antonio, because if we're talking about it's like a heavyweight title fight.
Yeah,
and as you see, when you see defenders who like Rudiger, like he's up for the battle, he wants to fight. He's at the end of the game, grabbing up people. He may toe the line a bit too much, but you want them. As I wrote the other day, people complain about Rudiger, but if I was going to war, I've got Rudiger with me. You want him on on your side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Tierney's got to be on it as well, because he'll be up against Bowen.
Bowen,
and Bowen's been on. I watch a lot of West Ham basically because it's on the telly and I have to. But he's a top player, very, very underrated, and he's going to be
Liverpool looking at him.
Yeah, and Tierney's got to have a good game as well.
Yep. G, who would you say is the key man? You going with Gabriel on that one as well?
Yeah, I've got to, man. I've got to. I that's why I kind of mentioned him, even though you asked me about how I felt about the game. But for me, I think Gabriel's going to be key because Antonio is an absolute pain. He's not going to make it easy for him. But I think I'm backing my boy Gabriel. I think he's up to the challenge. So yeah, I think Gabriel's going to be key tomorrow.
He's got a better game, Gabriel, because his last couple of games he's been a bit not the Gabriel that we've known. So that's another reason why he should be key man, because he's got to play a little bit better.
Yeah, if he plays well, the defense plays well.
Yeah,
he's kind of.
Well, I think a lot of people have called on him as a leader figure. They although his English might not be the best, he's showing characteristics. Maybe a bit too early in his Arsenal career, but he's definitely showing characteristics. Steve, give us your score prediction for tomorrow's game.
Can I whisper it?
No, you can send it by text. Just before we go, Steve's Twitter tag.
I can't. Do you know what? Can you see Arsenal being fourth tomorrow? I just can't. I just thinking like you're going to mess it up.
Don't say it. Don't put that.
Oh, so I'm going to back you boys. 2-1. 2-1. 2-1.
Don't you love the 2-1s? Don't you love the 2-1s?
Yeah.
God, Jay, give us your score prediction.
Despite thinking that defensively we're going to be sound, or we have to be sound, I don't think we are. I think it's going to be a game of goals. I'm going 3-2 Arsenal.
What
I think it's going to be a ding dong one. This one.
Arsenal.
I want it to happen. I want it now, didn't you? What's the time? What is the time, man?
You lot have talked it right up.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a big one.
Game. Steve's gone for a 2-1 victory, and GTalks Arsenal's gone for a 3-2 ding-dong battle.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't mind watching either of those. Me personally, I'm sticking to a 1-0. I think it'll be quite a low-scoring game. Just having a look at West Ham's previous. Yes, they beat.
Don't do that. We just leave it on an eye.
Yeah, yes, they beat. Yes, they beat. They beat.
We were just going to say thank you, good night. Peace out. Stay safe. Wash your hands.
I know. Yeah.
Now you've done it. Now
I was. Yeah, you've got about 2 minutes till that happens. But before we do go, just looking at West Ham's previous fixtures, there's a 3-2 against Chelsea. But other than that, there's a couple of games where it seems like they've struggled to score away from home, I want to say. I want to just throw it out there. Yeah, and then, we'll just keep it as that. 1-1, but mine's not going to go here. We're just going to keep this as these because we're going to keep it positive. All right. That is officially all we have time for. I apologise for not being able to go through the comments as there were quite a few tonight. Thank you very much. But I was fully engrossed into this conversation we was having here. Another excellent pod. Thank you very much for joining us, G.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Always a pleasure, man. Anytime you want me on, just hit me up, man. I love coming on.
It won't be too long away. And thank you very much for co-host Steve K joining us tonight.
You're welcome, mate. Cheers.
All right. Thank you, everyone else who was here. A couple of new names, and I can already see at least one subscriber has popped up. So before we go, please press that like and subscribe. If you are new to the channel, fully appreciate it. If you are watching on Facebook, please press that like and subscribe. Come over to KS1 TV. If you're watching on Twitter, come over as well. All right. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.